Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 24th of July 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session, where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, some of the charts that we looked at yesterday, so just to see how everything's getting along. And also some new ones. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so also just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and also our JFD research page, where you can, if you go in on our jfdbank.com website and click on research here, it will lead you to our page, which we update on a daily basis. We prepare daily analysis here, technical and separate technical analysis, and I believe you can find some useful stuff here. So do not hesitate to check us out. But for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is gold. Now, I looked at gold last week, and basically what I was saying that and actually I was looking at this one on Tuesday as well, so yesterday. So what I was saying basically, as long as it remains trading above this upper side of this wedge formation that got broken last week, and as long as it stays above this kind of still gives some hope for the bulls to step in here and drive this one higher. You can see it, after reaching the 1453 level, it drifted lower, it tested this upper side of the wedge formation and rebounded from it. There's also a level here that in a way could have kind of played its role as well, near the 1414 zone, from which you can see that the commodity reversed and pushed higher. The only thing is that it's struggling to kind of get back to these highs for now. I mean, what we're going to do is just going to wait and wait for a break of one of our key levels. So basically on the upside, what we're looking here for is a break above the 1430 before we're kind of considering further moves higher. But in terms of the downside, this is where it could become a little bit more interesting, because if we see a drop below the 1414 level and also below this downside line, this is where we could start aiming for lower levels, like the of course the psychological 1400 level, but then slightly below that we do have this this upside support line here, or the previous lower side of the wedge formation here. So this could be a nice potential target. And to be honest, and this is what I've mentioned yesterday, and if we see such a move, by the time it probably travels all the way here, the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart could approach this area, and that's why this little zone here could be a fantastic area of support, after which we'll just see what it wants to do. I mean, does it want to bounce or does it want to go further down? But in general, that this target could become quite an interesting one, like I said, given that the 200 EMA might also approach this area here. So that's why for now, be very careful, keep an eye on some of these levels that I've just mentioned, the 1430 and the 1414 zone. Jumping into DXY here very quickly. So this is what I talked about yesterday, and basically I was saying that we were targeting this area right here near the 97.77 80 zone, approximately around there. So it traveled all the way higher, tested this 97.77 perfectly, and now it seems that it wants to reverse back to the downside. Now we could, of course, we could see a bit of correction here lower. Don't get me wrong, we do have some good areas of support here. In a way, if this travels lower and tests the pivot, today's pivot, which is actually near the high of the 9th of July, which is near around the 97.60 level. So in a way, the index could, the index could travel lower, test this area, and this is where we will take it from there, because if it holds again, then we may see another leg of buying here. But if it starts breaking, then maybe the correction could be slightly deeper one, because a drop below this 97.60 level could maybe lead towards a deeper correction here. Initially, we will target this little previous high. Now it could play out as a nice area of support, and that's around the 97.45 level. And then we'll, like I said, we could see something like this happening, and another push towards this 97.77. But for now, of course, it is looking quite strong. The only thing is that it hit our key area of resistance here now, and you can see that the bears are trying to fight back and trying to lead this one a little bit lower. So that's why we could see a bit of correction here, and then yep, we'll take it from there, because for us, let's say, to start considering deeper declines here, deeper moves lower, we need to see a drop below the 97.26, 25 area, something like that, or in other words, also a drop below this this tentative downside line, and this way we could target slightly lower areas again. But for now, the only move down, I mean, could be seen as just as a correction before another leg of buying. This will actually make sense when I'll cover some of these other pairs later on here, but for now, let's jump quickly into AUDJPY. Now, I talked about this one, I believe, also sorry, on Monday in my Traders Tea Time, and what I was saying that for you guys to keep an eye on some of these key potential breakout points. So the first one was, of course, the upper side here. We were trading still higher. We were looking for this. We needed this break here above the 76.15 before kind of aiming for higher levels. It never happened. It drifted lower, tested initially the this upside support line, but then what I was saying, that we need to see a drop below the 75.73 before we could aim for lower areas. You can see that this is what happened. We had a nice drop here. We had a drop below the 200 EMA, so everything is kind of leading further towards the downside. Now we do have a good potential area of support here near the 75.42 zone, but to be honest, a slightly better area of support could be seen near the around 75.12, 15, 16 zone. So this little area here, as you can see, previously it acted as a good support zone. So that's why for now, yeah, we are going to be targeting lower. We are going to be aiming for initially for the 75.42. But if this is just seen as a temporary obstacle and on the bear path, then yep, we could see further declines here towards the 75 well, let's put it 15 around this area, basically, because to be honest, it would be a little bit unclear which specific level here, because both of these, I mean, both of these look good. So that's why we're just going to target this area around the 75.15. So keep your eyes on that one. In terms of the upside, if this travels, even if it travels back above this upside support line, still this is going to be for us a little bit of a neutral territory, because we need to see a nice good pop above this 76.15 level before kind of aiming for higher levels. GBP Aussie, now this is quite interesting, because of course the pound is not on the stronger side, but it is against the Aussie dollar. So the Australian dollar, and of course it's the same similar picture is against the New Zealand dollar. So looking at this one right now, you can see that it is trying to make its way a little bit higher. The only thing is that we do have this tentative downside line here taken from the high of the 1st of July, so this could be a nice good target. And also, if the pair pushes a little bit higher here, it could also meet the R2, today's R2, and which runs near this, which sits near this downside line. So in a way, this area could become quite an interesting area of resistance. But if it breaks, then yep, we will start aiming for higher levels. Now, what you could also do here is look at this area here around the 1.7855 zone, approximately around there. And let me just click a magnet here. There we go. Something like this, basically. Let me just quickly adjust this, guys. So this is the level that I'm going to be talking about. So this is the 1.7856 area, approximately around there. So good potential level to watch, because like I said, it's also around the R2, near this tentative downside line, and near this low of the 4th of July. So that's why kind of this move higher could come in line with the idea that I've just mentioned about AUD JPY selling off a little bit. So for now, keep your eyes on this one. If, of course, this gets a break, we will aim for higher levels, slightly higher levels. Initially, we will target this level right here, or should I say, actually rephrase that. Initially, we will target a 200 EMA here. We'll see how it's going to perform around there, but if it pushes further up here, we do have the 1.8043 zone, 44 approximately around there, and this is where the pair could also test this another tentative downside line, a more of a medium term, maybe I would say. So that's where, like I said, this is where it could be interesting for the bears again. If, let's say, this continues to travel higher here but gets rejected around this downside line, then this, like I said, this is where it could become interesting for the bears again. So keep your eyes on this one. Jumping into EURGBP now, very interesting here, and this is for now working nicely. And I talked about this one yesterday, and basically what I was saying that we need to see a drop below the 0.8955 before kind of aiming for further declines. Yesterday it did have a nice push initially, tested the psychological 0.90 level, but kind of failed to drive above it. And then since it sold off by the end of the day, it kind of sold off and traveled lower. So today, looking at this picture, of course, it's not looking quite good for EURGBP. It's looking good for the bears, but like I said, we need to see that nice good break below the 0.8955, because this is going to be quite an important one. Excuse me. And this is also something that I've wanted to kind of run by you, and probably you already maybe saw this, or if you watched my yesterday's video, you probably seen this already, but just a quick refresh that we may see something like this forming here, and it would be quite interesting to see if this actually eventually forms. So there we go, something like this, basically. There, boom. So we could be seeing here a nice head and shoulders formation, but we need that confirmation break here. Excuse me, guys, my voice is going down. We need that confirmation break here below the neckline, or that level that I was talking about, the 0.8955, and only then, yep, we could consider further decline. So keep your eyes on this one. If this decides to suddenly reverse back to the upside, still for us to consider higher levels would be this level here. The breaking point would be this, around the psychological 0.90 level. If we see a nice good close above this, then yep, we will aim for slightly higher levels. Jumping into euro dollar now, and this is for now working out nicely. So yesterday I talked about this one. This is what I was saying, that one of the levels that we could be targeting will be could be the 1.1143, 44, something like that. And we did have a perfect test of that area, and now you can see that the bulls are trying to kind of regain some of their losses. They're trying to push the EURGBP back up, EURUSD back up here. Yeah, we could see a bit of correction. The only thing is that keep your eyes near this level first, the 1.1159, which is the low of the 3rd of June. But if this travels a little bit higher here, we could see the rate hitting today's pivot, which is around the 1.1168 zone, approximately around there. If the rate gets stalled here, we could see another leg of selling, because in general, to be honest, we are targeting this 1.1110 zone here, which previously acted as a fantastic area of support. So good, it's not far from there. So in a way, it's only about 40 pips to go here up until it could reach this 1.1110 zone. So that's why for now yes, we could see a move higher. The only thing is that we will consider that as a temporary correction before another leg of buying. For us to start maybe looking at higher levels right now, maybe a push back above this upside support line, this previous upside support line, and a push above the 1.1225 zone could maybe do the trick. We could see maybe this one pushing, moving in the upwards direction here. The only thing is that from the more of a near-term perspective, I would say the more important level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on here is the 1.1280, and a nice good pop above this could open the path towards further acceleration. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's USDCAD. Now I talked about this one a while ago, and basically what I was saying that to keep a close eye on some of these levels. So we did have a nice pop here above this 1.3095 level that I talked about. We traveled higher, and this was our target, this downside resistance line, taken from the high of the 31st of May. We had a perfect test, perfect hit. Even I actually did overshoot it a little bit, but it got stalled here near the 200 EMA, and then the bearish crack kind of quickly drove this one back down. So in a way, this arrow now got completed. Now what we're going to be looking at here is this level. We're still looking at this 1.3145, even though we did have a break here and kind of this violation of that level. Still, this kind of level here, the 1.3145, is quite an interesting one to watch. If we see a push above this, then yep, automatically this would also place the rate back above this downside line, and we could maybe target slightly higher levels like the 1.3196 or even above that. In terms of the downside here, now initially we had this barrier here in order to kind of consider further declines. Now we still have this level here, the 1.3020, as the kind of this more important breaking point to the downside, because if we see a drop below the 1.3020, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could see this one sliding to the downside. The only thing is that we're quite already distant. The pair has already distanced itself from this level. So from the very short-term perspective, what you could look at here is, let me just grab an arrow. You could in a way keep your eyes on this 1.31 level again. A drop below this in a way could maybe send this one back down here, initially aiming for not this little level, but this little level here near the 1.3036, something like that, and then we'll take it from there, see what it wants to do after that. So that's why keep your eyes on this area around the 1.3107, around the 1.3095. So that's why kind of probably the average between those roughly could be around the 1.31 zone. So that's why keep your eyes on the 1.31, guys. Okay, guys, and that's like I said in regards to the downside. So I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me later on at my traders' tea time, as always, that's 13:15 GMT. For now, I hope you have a wonderful trading session, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.